our caucus not getting reelected. My question is, I'd be worried about your caucus not getting reelected because you haven't done the right thing. You haven't done the right thing by Missourians. You've got this supermajority that the people of Missouri gave to you. And they gave it to you because they knew we couldn't get anything done with the governor. They gave it to you because they knew you guys, they trusted you more than they trusted him. So show the people of Missouri that you deserve to keep it. Show them that you deserve to keep it.
This is the best chance we've got of passing it since 1978, because then it was on the general election ballot. And a lot of Democrats got in, and the worst governor we ever had got in from Kansas City.
Who was that? That was before my time.
I don't remember, but he never left Kansas City. He stayed the whole 4 years in Kansas City.
Well,
he was just a union thug.
They are.
Legislators really should not be afraid of losing their votes because they are dwindling.
They make up 11% of Missouri's population.
Leaders.
Yes, they make up 11%. And the lobbyists, can I just make this one last comment and then I'm going to let you guys go because I feel like I've been just yammering on for 53 minutes.
You're fine.
But, but the union guys down there, the union lobbyists or whatever, they walk in and I look at them and I'm like, wow. I mean, his suit and shoes cost more than my car. And where did he get that money?
Yeah.
That money comes from off the backs of workers. So, and something, okay, I get so worked up about this. Not only, they say that they can't use union dues for political stuff.
Yeah.
That is a load of baloney, and that you can't, it's really hard to opt out, number one. Number two, they can still use that for intra-union communications, so they can use money from their workers, from a union worker, to put out a publication in which they put in that publication telling union workers who to vote for. And every single time, who do they tell who to vote for? And the perfect example of this is the Missouri NEA. They are the prime example of it, and that is one of the, they are already right to work. That's the other thing. Who are the fastest growing unions in our state and in our country? Public sector. And you know what? Public sector unions are already right to work. So what are private sector unions so worried about? If they have a good product, people will join on purpose. They'll join. My mom works for the Veterans Administration. She is a nurse at the VA hospital in Columbia. And she has this thing, like something in her eye. She has to get some special injection in her eye. And the health insurance, or the vision insurance that the federal government provides will not cover it. But if she joins the union, she can get union vision insurance that will cover her eye injections. My mother hates unions, can't stand them, but those eye injections cost $5,000 every 3 months. So you betcha my mom's like, oh, I'll give you $10 a month so I don't have to pay for that eye injection. That's how it works. That's how it works. You provide a service and people will want to buy it. Right now, unions do not have to provide a good service to Missouri workers. They do not have to provide them anything because Missouri workers are forced to pay them. You can't get a job at Gerb's, at Schnucks, at any of those places until, number one, until you're 18 because you have to be able to join the union. My son works at Hy-Vee because it's an employee-owned store. It's not a union store. But if you are 18 and you're going to college and you want a job, so you go to Schnucks and you get a job at Schnucks, you got to give a portion of your wages to a union, and they don't provide anything for you there.
Right. I did that. I bagged groceries at Schnucks when I was younger, and part-time, because you can't full-time because they give you all this other stuff. So part-time, bagging groceries, and then paying union dues on top of that, that was sad. I mean, what little money I took home.
Yeah. And what did you get for those union dues?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Well, my husband worked for Dow Chemical, and that was union when he went to work, and he said it was hard to opt out. The union guy was embezzling money, so they sent him to prison. He was sending us a bill for our union dues from the prison.
See?
Yeah, he was sending them from prison.
If you have to be responsive, think about the NRA. What if the NRA, everyone in this country was forced to give the NRA $10 a month so they would protect our Second Amendment rights? Who would have a fit? Who would have a fit?
We would.
We would. We would have a fit just as much as the other side would have a fit, because that's not right. You can't take my money to do something with it if I don't say that you can do that. And you can't do it just so I can live here. It's wrong. So that's why, but the NRA is hugely successful, and nobody is forced to give them money.
Nope.
Give them money of their own free will.
Yep.
Why? Because they get something in return for it.
Yeah.
It seems easy enough to me, but any more questions? I knew you would.
If everybody was self-employed, there'd be no unions.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Did you get involved with agencies of state and national government?
We push back against the EPA. Is that what you mean?
Well, that's one of them.
Yeah. So yeah, we get involved, and we get involved in when they set out new rules or new regulations, especially at the national level, because we have more staff at the national level that can, find out all the details of something, and then we can send a bunch of people. Like when the EPA was traveling around the country taking public comment on the clean power plant stuff, we had huge rallies in Colorado and North Carolina because they were huge places, and we had people show up also in Kansas City to push back against that. If nothing else, it shows that we're not going to sit down and take it anymore. They still pushed through whatever they wanted to push through. They didn't listen to anything we had to say. But I think us showing up for those things is showing other Missourians and other Americans that there are people out there that aren't going to sit down and take it anymore. We're mad as hell and we're going to fight back. Even if it doesn't necessarily affect change at this moment in time, the groundswell will eventually, we'll get there. I have hope that we will get there.
As you know, there's been a plethora of law changes and regulation changes. So during this last administration, especially put 930 executive orders,
Yes.
more than any other time.
Yes.
And you notice that this has trickled down, even to the local level. And if you'll examine the law that's in there, you'll find out that that law is written their side. Now, if you have no alternative but to sue, it's still written on their side.
Yep.
Because they'll throw the law to you, and it's against the law for them to have any kind of liability or any kind of responsibility, but they can send you a bill for something that they say is in the law or was in the law 10 years ago. It's never been changed or anything else. There's no statute of limitations or anything involved with it.
But they have interpreted it. They've interpreted it. Did that come out right?
Yes.
Interpreted it differently than the people that were in power 10 years ago interpreted it.
But you're perfectly eligible to appeal it, and appeal it, and appeal it.
And spend your money to keep appealing it and keep appealing it. And
you
then
want to go through one of their appeals procedures.
It's not pleasant.
It is not due process of law. It is a gang up on you.
And we have to hold our lawmakers. Our lawmakers wrote those laws 10 years ago and wrote them in such a way to abdicate their responsibility to an agency to regulate something. And that's wrong, and we've got to push back against that now. So if you haven't been, who here has been to Jefferson City in the last year? I would challenge you all, if you haven't been there during the legislative session, make a trip of it. Make a trip up there. Talk to your lawmaker. Talk to not just your lawmaker. Go find other law. If there's a piece of legislation that you find important, find out who chairs the committee that's going to hear those things, and go talk to that lawmaker too. Go talk to your senator. Even if you can't talk to them, ask to talk to their staff. Become friends with their staff. You're going to hear some great stuff on Saturday from Ryan Johnson's group, Missouri Alliance for Freedom, with their citizen lobbyist workshops. So if you can go to that, definitely go to that, because you're going to hear really good stuff about how to talk to your lawmaker. But do that. Take the time. If you can't make it to Jefferson City, call them up on the phone and ask if you can meet them for coffee here in the district, or if they have district office hours, or if they have some way for you to sit down and have a conversation with them. They need to know. Be their friend. Be their friend. Don't go in with a hostile attitude or anything, even if you are mad at them. Go in and become their friend, and then it becomes a lot more difficult, because that's what lobbyists do. I'm, full disclosure, I am a lobbyist, but only because I have to be. I'm not the high-paid kind that they have up there. But that's what they do. They don't always buy them coffee, but they'll meet them for coffee, or they'll just, hey, how's your mom doing? I know your mom was in the hospital. How's she doing? They are friends, and lobbyists are successful because they can make friends with people, and they make friends with those lawmakers, because it's really hard to tell your friend no. It's really hard to go to your friend and know that you've disappointed your friend. It's really easy to know that you disappointed Joe Schmo on the street. So become their friend. Develop a relationship with them. Find out what they like, you know? So you're not just calling them to say, lower my taxes now, but you can call them and say, you know, or send them a tweet and say, I know you love the Cardinals. They won last night. Awesome. Now about my taxes. But it's harder for them to tell you no if you're their friend, or they have a good, jovial, congenial relationship with you. So think about that, and how you approach them, because when they start to take their guard down, that's when you have an opportunity to have an influence on them. It's not just them, it's their gatekeepers, which are their staff. Their staff are their gatekeepers. I was a staffer for a congressman. I was his gatekeeper. Nobody got past us if we didn't want them to get past us. And some of that was not always right, but some of that was completely right, because there's some wacko people out there, let me tell you. Scary people do. But become their friends, get to know them. If you go to church with somebody that's in the legislature, make sure you're talking to them, you know, or invite them, you know, maybe invite them to your Bible study, or invite them to something that's not going to be intimidating to them, so you can become their friend. Because like I said, I mean, if your friend comes to you and says, hey, you know, can you do X, Y, Z for me? Sometimes, some friends it's really easy to tell them, no, I can't. But most friends it's like, well, if I can't do it that day, maybe I can do it this day for you. They find a way to work with you. So that would be my suggestion, and kind of my call to action for you. Get to Jeff City. Talk to your lawmakers. If you can't get to Jeff City, find a way to have one-on-one contact with them here, and find something positive for that first conversation. And then, after you've sweet-talked them a little bit, then go in for the kill. I think I've talked enough. My voice hurts. So,
Thank you.
nobody has anything else. Thank you so much. Bridgewater. It's a teeny tiny town in southwest Iowa. Okay. It's in Adair County.
We gonna do the 50-50 drawing, Barb, or
Sure.
for that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we would, to pass the teapot one more time for Rachel, show our appreciation for her coming down. If you would like to contribute to that, I'm sure that she would greatly appreciate it. That's all right.
We'll see if we've got an honest person here, huh? Rachel, you wanna reach up and get us one?
Okay, and whoever draws my new best friend, right?
There you go.
Tell her to buy a Prius.
Okay.
Okay, look at the numbers, guys.
The last three are 982.
Bingo.
My new best friend!
You just made a new friend.
Yay!
982. Okay, was there?
we have $16.
Put that forward toward gas money.
Okay. Silvio has donated this to the kitty for gas money for Rachel.
All right, thank you, Sue. Are you sure? Yes. I'm happy to do it for you. I'd just like to say that, first of all, is there any last comments or questions from anyone, announcements before we close? Yes.
Last Saturday this month, August 29th, Lincoln Day out at Ray's Conference Center. Doors open at 5 o'clock. So far, guest speaker will be Roy Blunt and Jason Smith, but there's supposed to be some sort of surprise guest. They won't let me know. Tickets $25 a piece. Down at Horizon Screen Printing, Castro Journal office.
It'd be a surprise, wouldn't it?
When was it again? 29th. Last Saturday this month.
Which is okay, because they can go to the Concerned Women for America thing here at the library at 4, and then they can go there.
Right.
Yeah, and spread the word on that if you would, please. I would just want to point this out. Please, if you could, try and just pick one thing to go to. Maybe you've never been to county commission meetings, city council, school board, you name it, pick one. Maybe you've never done that. For whatever reason, maybe you're a little intimidated to do it. I know at one point in my life I would have never thought about walking into one of those meetings. But I can tell you, no matter what you feel like when you walk in, and 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 new faces walk in and flop down, the people at the table are going to be more uncomfortable than you because they don't know you and they're wondering why you're there. They're used to conducting these meetings without anybody there, wondering what they're doing, questioning what they're doing, just carrying out the business that affects your lives. You need to go there, if just to listen, and know that you're making them squirm a little bit inside. Okay? So just pick one thing, drag a friend with you, just to go see what it's like. Linda?
There was a suggestion earlier on that sheet that we ought to put where the meeting is held. We don't have the actual.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. So next month we will try and remember to do that so everybody knows
that's a good
where
idea.
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that I know of where it's at there is that survival meeting. Because we go to that every week. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
I attended one of the meetings with the Parks and Recreation Department right over here. And they sat there for some time conducting the meeting, and finally they stopped. They looked at me and say, "Why are you here?"
Exactly.
Yes.
Because I wanted to see what you're talking about. "Who are you?" I said, "I'm a citizen here of Cape Girardeau." They were very uncomfortable with me there.
Yes.
All the rest of them were the committee people, and they were very upset, or not upset, but very uncomfortable with me being there. And I'm glad I went.
And that is because we have been so uninvolved in our government for so many decades, which is not the way our founding fathers intended it to be. And they've been used to just having free reign with just them in there making all the decisions that affect us. And now we're upset about it all of a sudden.
Janet?
Well, go in and have an effect on it by just sitting there. Like he said, I'm glad you contributed to that,
Yes,
because it
thank
is true. It makes them uncomfortable, having the citizens' eyes on them. Yes?
A few years ago, I was a member of the Cape Girardeau City Ethics Commission. And I bet you most people didn't even know that Cape Girardeau had an ethics commission. And now they don't anymore because they did away with it, because in 5 years there were no ethics violations, so they didn't figure they needed it anymore. It was a commission of citizens of Cape Girardeau who weren't getting paid, who just went there and donated their time, set the rules up, spent 2 years setting the rules up, and then the city said, well, we don't really think we need it anymore. So if you want to know what's going on, you have to get involved.
Yes. My daughter's on something like that right now, the Go Green Committee.
Just
And they're wanting
understand.
to educate the citizens on like how you can recycle, where you take that stuff. And then the city council says, well, you can't do that because it's not in your charter to do that. So you have to rewrite that whole charter if you want to do that.
By the way,
We're
they
talking
did.
something simple,
Yeah.
you know, putting something on the website, telling people this is how you can recycle. If you want to plant native flowers, maybe this is where you can get them. Simple things. But why form these committees if you're not going to allow the citizens to have a say in it? Start showing up the meetings, folks. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Facebook, we're on Twitter.